Okay, I'm back, and this is the second part of my series trying to explain our ET connections. Uh, it is Thursday, the 28th January. Okay, I had a whole list of sort of questions that I was going to go through, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up where I left off yesterday, which is who is in control and why. Like my notes are, these are very big topics, and disclosure dates and contracts, things like that. Okay, so in a sense, who is taking control is um, basically best way for me to explain this is it's kind of an evil syndicate. Probably the easiest way for me to describe it for now is it's like a cabal or a group of entities from the Orion system. Um, so that doesn't mean everybody's negative or evil in the Orion system, but I'm just saying there's a group that basically came here, and I know you've heard a lot of bad things about them, and it's true. The reptilians, the Dracos, are pretty much heading up this whole takeover that they've done, as well as the farming. We're basically being farmed, and what they use as kind of like their foot soldiers are the little greys. There's a lot of different species of greys. There's tall greys, probably medium-sized ones, small greys. That's a really interesting topic, and I could do a whole talk about the greys themselves, but they're enslaved to the Dracos type of thing. Even the Dracos themselves are kind of enslaved, but they're enslaved by AI. This is a huge topic, you guys, as far as who's controlling us. But so I'm going to try to simplify as best I can and kind of describe the situation we're in and how we're breaking free of this control. So because we live kind of in a duality matrix, we signed up for this on purpose. I mean, just so you know, like it's part of our spirit, soul learning stuff that we go through. I guess something else I should probably explain before I go too much further is all of us that have source spark in us in particular, which is basically most beings out there have that. The others don't, because they're kind of more manufactured. They're not real. Like for an example, a clone or something. Like they're not like us, even though we're all avatars. But our sparks inside of us, we are immortal. We are part of Source, or you can call it God. We never die. All we do is gain experiences and learn and create. That's kind of what we do, and that's one of the main ways you can see if someone's aligned with Source or God is that creativity. If someone's really creative, it's just that's a sign that they're connected to Source. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't be corrupted either. So, because I mean, there's creative people that can fall for the dark side, if you want to use that as an example. But my main point before I go any further is nobody dies. You don't die. Your spirit goes on forever. We're immortal. But our physical bodies die. Yes, of course they do, because it's it's an avatar in a sense. It's a physical avatar. It's pretty interesting stuff. I can go on all these subjects, because all these subjects that I talk about, they my guides have told me, and they've really expanded on this stuff, and that's why you see me say, like, wow, I got a crazy download last night, because they explain this stuff, and there's more to that they're explaining to me, but they really expand on this. I'm going, wow, okay, that's how that works. It's just like it's very interesting. But it's really hard to conceive of if you don't have an open mind. Okay, and now I'm going to go on to the next question, because otherwise I can just go on forever about describing our controllers. But actually, before I go on any further, our controllers, just so you understand it, going back to my earlier description of these are avatars. Those evil entities can inhabit human bodies just like we can. So, and like I was telling you guys before, if you come from a planet, say you come from a water planet, see the last creature that you were was like this aquatic creature, and then you said, okay, I'm going to go to Earth and go into a human body there and experience that world. So what you do is your essence, or your spirit, and your soul, it's kind of this bundle of energy, basically comes down and incarnates into a human being. Well, the bad guys do the same thing. So when you see a human being, it might be a reptilian in a human body, or another evil entity. So that's why we see these people that we'll call them serial killers or things like that. It's basically these sociopaths that have no conscience or compassion and things like that. So yeah, they show themselves eventually. They're the type that would torture an animal as a child too, whatever. It's just like, whoa, that's not the alignment that I come from. So what you'll kind of see on Earth is beings that are acting really strange, really opposite. It's like, but we simplify it in our minds. We go, geez, they're just not being human, because most of us I can't say most of us, but I'm just saying, okay, maybe the majority, but I don't know the exact percentages, are of positive alignment, and we're in human bodies, so we all have the same things in common. We all like to be happy, pursuit of happiness and kindness and stuff like that. So we all have those positive alignments. So for us, we call that, oh, he's just being a nice human, or it's very human of him to do that. But even amongst humans, you realize that varies too. There's always variations. Like, some people are human, they're of kind of a positive alignment, but they're very selfish. It's like, why is this person so greedy and whatever? Well, in a sense, to really simplify all that is why we come and incarnate into human bodies or different creatures around the universe, is to deal or play out these issues. I could go, man, I'm a very greedy person, so the last time I was, on another planet, I tried to work on that issue, and for some reason, I can't quite get rid of my greed. So you'll come to Earth, and you inhabit a human body. You still have that attribute, but you go, well, I'm going to try to work this issue out on this planet now, because maybe you just needed a different atmosphere or something, different circumstances to play that one out. That's kind of what's going on. So anyway, so the bad guys can be in human body forms as well too, but they're also in their real bodies too, on their home planets. They're not really from here, but they've set up kind of their own civilizations all over the place. Um, that's the thing with our controllers. They're kind of marauders, or they want to make a big empire, in a sense. It's very much like Star Wars, just you know, and I've explained that on other videos. It's like he was privy to what's going on, and basically Star Wars is his way of doing disclosure. That was kind of a disclosure series or movies. There's lots of them out there that try to explain what's really going on out there. And it is. They're trying to have this evil empire and then take over worlds. So we're like the rebel forces that are fighting against them. It is really almost like that. Okay, disclosure. I want to talk about that. Disclosure is is something that, as silly as this might sound, but there was actual contracts written and signed by sort of people in control on Earth, like governments. They would sign treaties with ETs that for in exchange for technology, they said, okay, you can use you can abduct human beings and use them for your genetic experiments, whatever. But you can only do it for, let's say, 20 years. Or who knows the exact contract? I'm not privy to that. But a lot of governments have signed up for this in exchange for technology, and it's because they were they were definitely manipulated. They're given the carrot on the stick type of thing. They're saying, you could be ahead of the other countries on planet Earth. So in a sense, they did it for selfish reasons again. They weren't speaking for us by doing this. So it's just completely not fair what we've been put through. But they basically they okayed it. But these contracts ran out. A lot of them were 50-year contracts. Who knows? Maybe there was 60-year contracts. But so if a lot of them were written, let's say in the 40s, and they're a 50-year contract, they expired. So a lot of times, and I've heard rumors and I've read about it too, is they've extended these contracts, things like that. But anyway, what it boils down to is at the end of these contracts, they have to disclose this information of where they got, for instance, LEDs, lasers, a bunch of stuff that somehow just showed up on planet Earth, some sort of crazy technology. And as usual, these groups of humans used it to their advantage only, to, it would make them prosper from these deals, but not us. We're just, we're like cattle. And we really are, and I'll explain that in future videos, but they're just using us, and for a lot of reasons, but anyway, so we're going to be breaking free of that. So as far as the disclosure is concerned, some of these deals that they made were with leaders that we had in the past, like Eisenhower. The thing about Eisenhower is he's a very great man. He's awesome. He's very, very positively lined, and he was basically tricked, and things were done behind his back, from what I understand, giving into these. So he realized that it went down kind of a dark path, and he was trying to give us warnings of what's to come. And then after him, there was Kennedy. Kennedy was privy to what was going on as well, and he kind of wanted to expose the truth. But again, he got taken out. After that, there's been a long line of I'm just talking United States in particular, but a long line of presidents and things like that were supposed to, according to the treaties, to expose this truth, or basically full disclosure. But as we've noticed, and now I understand more too, is they've been kicking that can down the road as long as they can. They keep putting it off, going, I don't want to do it. I don't think human beings I'm not sure if the cattle or the sheeple are ready for this information. You know, whatever excuses they basically came up with. And then they basically would do more disclosure TV shows, more disclosure movies. They said, well, we'll do it that way. We'll try to wake them up to the fact that we're going to start having a relationship with extraterrestrials, but we have to somehow put it. We'll do it in movies like E.T., whatever. Try to get them up to speed. And then what's been happening lately, if you noticed, is Ancient Aliens. Same thing. It's a TV show trying to go, hello, people. There's something going on out there. It's been going on for a long time. I think we've got contact with extraterrestrials. We're just saying. Like, that was another way of trying to wake us up. But ultimately, what I'm getting at here is they keep kicking that can down the road, saying, I don't want to be responsible for telling people what's been going on. Because first of all, they're afraid of the blowback. They're afraid of people reacting and getting really angry, which of course there's going to be a lot of people that will be. They're going to be, well, why did you lie to us for so long? Why did you? Because you've been living with these free energy machines that are, in underground military bases, and yet you've got us to pay your electrical bills up here for no reason. Like we could have had free power, decades ago or even 100 years ago. So they've been depriving us of the spoils of technology, including they have spacecraft that human beings are. Well, that's just it. It's not all of us. It's the secret. Well, yeah, you can call it secret space people too, organizations. Yeah, the SSP, secret space programs. They've been running out there. They've got this technology, all this stuff, and they're just not telling us. So, in some ways, I kind of get why that they're afraid of letting the cat out of the bag. But that's coming, and knows they can't stop it anymore. It's also part of our Great Awakening and our breaking out of this matrix control system. So it's coming, and people like me, and there's hundreds of thousands like me, that came here for this event and to try to, best way for me to describe it is steer it in the right direction. And that has to do with timelines and being positive. But yeah, these are huge topics. So yeah, disclosure's coming out. In what form and exactly what time, I don't know for sure, other than it's going to happen. And then this is a huge topic. I'll probably stop this video fairly soon, but the next one I think I'll talk about is there is multiple timelines for everything, and including there's timelines where they did do disclosure, back in the 80s, and that played out, and they did disclosure in the 90s, the Clinton administration did disclosure, and then the Obama administration did disclosure. So there's timelines where they did do it, and then we saw where that ended, and then that wasn't necessarily very good either. So that's why I'm involved in timelines. In a sense, it's like I'm involved in timeline corrections. It's a huge topic, I know. What I'm going to do is I'll go more into that in my next video. But yeah, disclosures, and it's an inevitability. It's coming, and we're trying to get people up to speed again as much as we can. Because it's going to be shocking to a lot of people. I really think so. Let's see. Yeah, man, it's really interesting stuff. Okay, so that'll be it for today, and then yeah, I'm gonna try to describe or explain best I can how timelines play into all this stuff. I'll kind of simplify it just quicker before I end this video, but it's storylines that get played out, and once you realize outside of this, what this is something else you can. It's hard to wrap your head around, but these worlds and this whole universe is kind of like a giant holodeck, which they do in Star Trek. They kind of use that as an example. It is. It's like a holodeck. But it's, but it's physical. That's why it's so advanced. It's like if you're saying, well, if I was going to make myself a video game, I'd make it so it was like so realistic, whatever. Well, if you can imagine, if you're a creator or your source energy, and you've been here for eternity, you've obviously come up with the technology and the concept of how to turn a dream or a thought into a physical form. That is what we are experiencing. These are physical holodecks. This is a physical hologram. So for us, we're going, well, this is as physical as it gets. Well, sort of, yeah, because it's generated by our thoughts and our intentions and stuff. It's really interesting to expand on that. But anyway, also it involves timelines, and like I've told you guys before, time doesn't really exist outside these holodecks. They have their own timelines. Like these own universe have their own sort of timelines, but it's like a story. So timelines are like chapters in a book. You go, okay, it went from here. It's very linear, and it ended here. But what if you could change that? What if you could jump on page 23 and rewrite something, and you go, wow, if I rewrite this, it changes the ending. Wow, that's incredible. Let's try that. That's kind of what's going on here. Anyway, okay, I'll stop here, and I'll go on with these explanations. I'll try to do one, like I said, once a day, and I'll try to explain things as best as I can from what they've been showing me. Okay, that's it for today. I'll talk to you later.